Coffee Oasis is a one-stop shop for kids in our community who have nobody in their corner, have no idea where they're going to lay their head that night, no idea where they're going to get their next meal. If they find themselves in that place, they can come to the Coffee Oasis and be connected to people that care about them and people who are going to help them succeed. We hope it is a lighthouse for all kids who are hurting and need that extra help.
My name is Cindy Frederick, and I'm one of the co-founders of Coffee Oasis. My husband and I started it in 1997. It was originally a business in Bremerton, and we were ourselves looking for a location in Bremerton to kind of use as a base for outreach to youth that were struggling. And we heard of the Coffee Oasis being for sale, and it piqued my husband's interest. It all kind of started in our home, where if we knew somebody that needed a place to stay, we'd say, hey, we got an extra room, and they would come and stay with us. With the Coffee Oasis, it was like, oh, this could be a dual thing where it would be a business and it could be a place where kids could drop in. Our idea was to have a Friday night drop-in time. We set the date and we made little invites, and he went up on a Friday afternoon to Bremerton High School, up to Smoker's Corner, and just walked through this crowd of kids and just handed out these invites. And that first Friday night, 4 kids came. They told their friends, and they told their friends, and within a number of months, we'd have like 50 kids down there on a Friday night.
So we've been around 25 years now. We've moved from a mom and pop coffee shop to 5 locations, 80 staff, and yet those early years, it was not romantic. The kids that were coming in required a lot of time from my family. My parents would take time mentoring young men and women that had no mom and had no dad and needed parent figures, and their parent figures became my parents.
My name's Shayna. I first came to Coffee Oasis when I was 13 years old. I just moved here from Reno. Someone said they had a teen hangout spot Friday nights. I think it was the only place in Bremerton that had anything like that, especially for like low-income families. They're like, oh, it's free to go there, they have food. We went down there. I remember Cindy came, introduced herself to me. They were all super friendly.
So I remember Shayna in our original location, and she just, my heart was drawn to her. She was struggling at the time.
My life before I met Dave and Cindy was a little hectic. I dropped out of school, did drugs, committed crimes, and then I met Dave and Cindy, and I was still kind of in and out of that, but they had the Coffee Oasis, and they were always like, hey, here we are.
It was a lot of years of up and down, but boy, there's just a bond and a friendship there with her, and I feel like she's a daughter, partly because I just had the opportunity to be a mother to her for a while.
I learned about love while I was with them. Patience, I feel like, trust. As a mom now, like sometimes when I'm just really frustrated, I'll have to think back to like how Cindy must have felt, or like what she did raising us as teenagers. It didn't matter what was going on. She was always there with love. I feel like I got a lot of hope from Dave and Cindy.
I think that's so much what kids that came to live with us found, was it was family, a place where they knew they were unconditionally loved. They could run and they could come back, and I was gonna still let them in the door with a hug.
By the time we started the Coffee Oasis, the work we were doing was already second nature for my family. It started out in the home. When we opened up the Coffee Oasis and started that organization, it just kind of opened the door wider and saying, this is where we are. No matter who you are, no matter where you've come from, you can walk through this door, and we're excited to greet you. Starting in 2009, we just started seeing an infusion of community support. People started showing up and saying, we see what you guys have done and are amazed by it, and we want to be a part of it.
My name is Daryl Thomas. I've been involved with the Coffee Oasis for about 10 years. I started off as a volunteer, and currently I am the vice chair of the board. I have my story of coming from the streets and wishing that I would have had a mentor growing up, especially resources, being raised with a single mom with 5 kids. And I could just empathize with a lot of kids on the streets that had some similar issues. I wanted to be able to spread that message and spread that hope of the Coffee Oasis to those youth and invite them back into a community.
My name is Joy. I've been coming to Coffee O since I was 15, and I'm 25 now. Yeah, I got bullied. I was in and out of school. I was getting drunk at school. I was not having a good time at home. And yeah, I didn't really have a good outlook.
I remember growing up, I didn't have someone there to really take me under their wing and kind of just show me about, okay, this is how you manage finances. This is how you apply for a job.
Doing the job training program and actually being in a job setting, it actually really helped me to learn how to communicate and go to your boss and be like, hey, there's something wrong, how do I deal with this situation? No matter what you do, no matter what's on your record, people are still gonna reach out to you and love you and care for you.
When I saw the kids that didn't have that and they would be looking for employment or to help their families out, I saw that, that piece of me in there, in my story. I felt like, it was a bigger purpose of me coming back to help my community that I grew up in.
As the Coffee Oasis has grown, it's really because it's become a group of people believing that this is where community can be restored. And it's been exciting to see that vision that was in a family at one time spread and now spread throughout 2 counties and impact thousands of youth every year, because a whole group of people, not just a family, but a whole group of people are saying we believe in this and we want to invest here.
I moved here from Kentucky, and I had my own coffee roasting business leading up to my move to Washington to become a pastor. And when I learned about the mission of the Coffee Oasis, I was so compelled by it. I didn't want to be in competition with it. I ended up selling all of my equipment, selling my roaster, and that's how I got involved. My name's Jeremy Spainhour, and I serve on the board for Coffee Oasis. I've been serving since 2017. The mission of Coffee Oasis is to restore community through compassionate youth programs and coffee businesses. It's about kids who need positive influences in their lives.
Spring of 2019, my dad was diagnosed, and 2 weeks later, I stepped in as interim executive director. I took over and cast a vision for our team that we would do 2 things. We would hold on to our legacy, and we would look to the future built on that foundation. What I saw our foundation being was that of faith in front lines, that we would be people who trusted God for his provision, that we received his love for us, and with that love we shared it with the community. Then front lines, that we would not pull back. We would not, close in on ourselves, but we would remain generous in going out there and finding people where they were hurting. And so when I'm in doubt of what to do, when I feel very young as a leader, all I have to do is look back at the great legacy that was left by my dad.
When I think about the legacy that was left by Dave, I think of Coffee Oasis as an organization that exists to be a father to the fatherless, a mother to the motherless. And that was really embodied in a man, in Dave Frederick.
To this day, not a week goes by without thinking about him and his influence on the Coffee Oasis. And we've done a lot of things that try to hold faithfully and honor his memory.
I'd say I love you. Thank you for everything. That's it. That's what I would say to Dave if I could.
This is more than just one man's mission. It's something that now the whole community has embraced, and it's continuing on into a future.
I think my biggest hope for the future is that passion for each youth as an individual is not lost. That it always stays that I'm sitting talking to you, you have 100% of my attention, and I really care about what happened yesterday, what's happening today, and what's going to happen tomorrow.
When I think of the future of Coffee Oasis, I don't think in terms of new locations or more profit or more cups of coffee sold. My vision of success is the next youth coming in feeling cared for and having everything they need to thrive. It has everything to do with every youth that comes in finding a pathway to success.